you're finally awake.
Those who stood and fought upon this hallowed ground were volunteers, motivated by a sense of duty and a fervent passion to see Anglo-Saxon governance restored. Our name. We are undeniable.
What is up, fellas, and welcome to the first episode of Phone a Fren with me, the Goob. Hopefully the name's not too gay and the Pepe's not too gay. But this episode is all about organizing and building networks, and my goal is to encourage that and to actively help people to do so. I know that some of the people watching this show have already signed up for patriotfront, have applied, and I applaud those people. And if you are a part of a different group, I applaud you as well. But I also am very confident that not every single person watching this show has actually taken the step to try and join a group. And right now, that is absolutely the most important thing that you can do. I've talked about individual actions you can implement into your life quite a bit on this channel in the past, from small things to big things and everything in between. And I encourage those actions, but there is a multiplying effect. If you join a group, all of those things become infinitely more effective. You become a hell of a lot braver because you now have a support network. All those things become easier to do. And we're just not going to be able to actually implement any real change. The things that are necessary cannot be done without organizing and building networks. And so I truly believe that is the most crucial thing that we need to be focused on at this point in time. Continue to train, continue to improve your life, continue to impose your will upon yourself and the world around you. But it is really important to organize and build a network. If you...
Hello?
Oh, someone already called in. All right, hey, Evil Ray, what's up, man? So this is a little bit ghetto.
I wish to legalize child porn and rape kids. Rape the fucking kids, man. Rape the niggas. Rape the babies, bro. Rape the fucking babies.
Okay.
A fucking 6-inch fucking size baby smoke, bro. You know who the fuck I am?
I don't know who that is. Obviously a troll. I will have to probably find something better than Ghost Call. I used it quick because was that you, Dora? I used it because it's quick and easy and it's anonymous. But I don't have a way to mute individual people or hang up on them. I just have to end the whole call. So I'll send a new link because I just had to end that call because some retard called in. And if I have a way to do one-on-one, so I can at least, if I get a good call on the line, I can at least entertain that call without it being interrupted by someone like that. I am on YouTube as well, so like I don't police people's speech here. You can say what you want, but don't actively try and get me banned. That's not cool. You know, I'm doing this for no benefit of my own. So don't be a faggot. Like that last guy, whoever the fuck that was. Retard. But yeah, if you do want to call in, say something in chat. I'll drop the link. You can call in. If you... Yes. If you know, have already joined a group and you want to like inspire other people, maybe you want to share how it has helped you in your life, or helped you in your activism, or if you want to share some of your activism again to inspire people, don't dox yourself, don't incriminate yourself. They are anonymous calls, but still use your own discretion. I'm going to trust you to not fuck yourself. I'm not your babysitter, right? So don't screw yourself, right? But you share your experiences and inspire other people. If you haven't joined a group and you've got some kind of hang up, maybe it's with the groups themselves. Maybe I can help clear up some of the hang-ups you have about the groups, help you find a group that fits your needs. I'm going to cover some of the various groups that are available to join here shortly. Or maybe you're like out of shape or something and you feel like you're not physically ready to do it. I'm actually really, really knowledgeable about fitness and health. I can help you with that a lot. I've done things through exercise that the vast majority of people would don't believe is even possible, right? So if you're looking to get in shape, I can help you do that, help you do it quite quickly and effectively. But yeah, that's what this show is. That's what this show is helping people overcome whatever barriers they might have to joining, encouraging people to join, helping people actually find groups. So let's go ahead and show. Hopefully I can, yeah, okay, it's working. Excellent. Obviously, Patriot Front is available to join. I'm a big fan of Patriot Front. Their manifesto is extremely long-winded, so I'm not going to read it. But I hear people have a very skewed view of what Patriot Front is, what they do, what they stand for, because they are so incredibly banned everywhere. They have almost no social media presence whatsoever. And so what most people know about them is only what they've heard through the, propaganda of leftists and retarded right-wingers. But they are a fantastic group. They believe in the founding fathers idea of America, which I do as well. I think that, what we have today is obviously horribly corrupted from what it was meant to be. Pittsburgh, yeah, I'll drop a link for you. It's a new link, so I got to give you a new link. So give me just a moment here, and I'll drop a new link for you. It's the Ghost Call. The 6-digit code that you add at the end of it will be, dropping it in chat now, okay, so add that to the end of the Ghost Call link. The N should be capitalized. I don't know if it actually matters, but yeah, feel free to call in. Pittsburgh would like to hear from you. So yeah, I know like last week there was someone in the chat talking about how Patriot Front or LARPers, all they do is march, and like he wasn't even aware that they do community outreach, wasn't aware that they've gone and helped so many different groups of people after natural disasters and various other things. The Ohio with all the poison. It was Palestine, Ohio, right? Isn't it? And after hurricanes and stuff. So they are a fantastic group, in my opinion. They present well. They present strong. It's a group of physically fit men. That's always a good look. They're well organized, they're well disciplined, they get out there and get the message out by being visible in public. Can I pin in this chat? Okay. I don't know how to pin in this chat. I know how to pin in the YouTube chat. I don't know that I can pin in this chat, or I don't know how to do it at the very least. But Pittsburgh Nordic, it is ghostcall.space/app. Okay, so I guess the site did change a little bit. It's ghostcall.space/app hashtag N6KWV9. But yeah, if you have any hangups about Patriot Front, go talk to me about them. I'll help clear them up. I think they are the number one group to join. They're the best in my opinion, but they're not the only good group. There are also other good groups. There's the National Alliance. What they believe, I'll read some of this. It's also a little bit long, but I'll go ahead and read some of it while Pittsburgh tries to call in here. The men and women of the National Alliance believe that the future is what we make it. We believe that we as free and conscious agents have an absolute responsibility for all those elements of the world around us over which we are capable of exercising control, for the structure of our society and its institutions, for the beauty and cleanliness of both our natural and man-made environments, for the cultural and moral climate in which we live and work, for the military and geopolitical status of our nation relative to the other nations of the earth, and most of all, for the racial quality of the coming generations of our people. We believe that no multiracial society can be a truly healthy society, and no government which is not wholly responsible to a single racial entity can be a good government. America's present deterioration stems from her loss of racial homogeneity, and racial consciousness, and from the consequent alienation of most of our fellow citizens. We believe that a good government is a government firmly based on fundamental principles, the first of which must be that the long-range welfare, security, and racial quality of our people is the ultimate good. A good government is a government which implements continuing, far-sighted programs consistent with this principle. It is not a government like the one we have now, which embodies no coherent national purpose, which is swayed by every minority pressure group, and which bases its policies on short-sighted partisan considerations, drifting from one crisis to another, seldom planning beyond the next election. And they have... You can read more about them if this, appeals to you, but I think this is also a perfectly acceptable group to join. Yeah, so Drew Huntley, Goob, I just don't like groups. Groups are easily corrupted. They are. I think that there's no evidence, though, of Patriot Front being corrupted, certainly. I can't speak as in depth to all of these groups, but these fears, the fears that I see people on the right expressing are fears of what could happen, right? We have plenty right now to be afraid of. We have existential threats right now that we are facing. We have enemies that want us dead right now. And you're allowing a fear of what maybe could happen in the future. There's no indication of it happening right now, but maybe it could happen in the future, and so you're going to allow that to prevent you from doing what's necessary to address the existential threats we face right now. That makes no sense. Ignore the noise and organize, right? But seriously, all of this, that's nonsense noise. It's not rational to be afraid of something that hasn't happened and to prevent you from taking action against the very rational fears of the existential threats facing us. But also, these are large groups. I do encourage joining these large national level groups. I think that is important. I think it's also equally as important, if not even more important, to form a local network. So, Drew, if you just can't overcome that fear, Drew, you can also feel free to call in. If you want to discuss that, we can have a conversation about it. ghostcall.space/app hashtag N6KWV9. I do need a better way to do this than the ghost call thing, because this is already a hassle, but this is what we're working with for this week. I'll try and improve it for next week. Yeah, that's a foolish stance. Again, I encourage you to call in, Drew. That is a very foolish stance. I come from a long line of military, and I'm not afraid of facing any fight or war alone. I am an army of one. I am not afraid. You might not be afraid. Oh, is someone on the... We got someone.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Is that you, Pittsburgh?
Why do you support Patriot Front, man? Patriot Front allows, mixed race people in their groups. They have They had a half a member in their group, actually.
Yeah, so Thomas Rousseau has addressed that point specifically in his recent video, addressing criticism. I think that's the title or part of the title of it. He has... There are people of small amounts of mixed race in the group, I think like 25% or less, and they're heavily vetted, like they undergo a higher level of scrutiny than someone else might. It is such a minor portion of the Patriot Front members, and again, it is a white group. It is a white nationalist group.
Hello, America needs Islam. America needs Islam, okay? You're a cumskin and you're going to be fucking raped, okay? You stupid fucking cumskin, fuck you. America needs Islam. We're gonna replace your fucking women. We're gonna rape them. We're gonna make them into little mutts.
So you think what you're doing is more productive than what Patriot Front is doing?
Fuck you, you fucking cumskin bitch. You cumskin.
Okay, so yeah, I definitely need something that I can have a permanent link and that I can hang up on people without, creating a new link. No, there is, if you start going down this route of DNA testing, right, it becomes rather ridiculous rather quickly. I'm fully comfortable with the level of white that Patriot Front adheres to. I have not seen anything in Patriot Front that would make me uncomfortable with that. Yeah, Drew, ideological stance should always stand above race. That doesn't work, right? I get the idea behind it. I do understand the idea behind it, but it unfortunately just doesn't work. You can call in. Are you saying that you would act like that if you called in? It was a one-on-one call, so if you do call in, you'll be the only caller. The new link, if someone does want to call in, is 7RR5EP. Ghostcall.space/app hashtag 7RR5EP. Their ideology is very important, but so is race. You can't discount either. You can't discount either. Both are important. This idea of America is an idea. Anyone can be American if they just agree to the idea that very clearly doesn't work. I'm kind of shocked that you still think that can work when we live in the reality that we do. Other groups, there is activeclub.org, which has a bunch of local chapters. Local Brotherhood, there's the overall group here, but they're very much focused on small local chapters. Local Brotherhood circles focused on physical culture, discipline, and shared growth. Train together, show up consistently, and build a dependable local crew. The expectation is simple: move, sweat, and contribute. Lift, run, hike, spar, or support chapter logistics, whatever helps the group stay sharp. Sessions can include combat sports, hiking, lifting, and conditioning, anything that reinforces strength, resilience, and reliability. And Drew, you say you're not afraid to fight alone. Like, look at what happened to Chud, right? It's not about like being stronger than the person in front of you. I get not being afraid from that aspect. I'm not really afraid of leftists either. They're retards and soy boys and faggots. But that doesn't mean I'm like not afraid of the system. And trying to fight the system alone is just incredibly foolish. But yeah, you absolutely need support, Drew. You cannot. This is not a fight that can be won alone. And again, even if you're not afraid, like I'm honestly having a hard time wrapping my head around that perspective. Like, you're not going to save America by yourself, Drew. It doesn't matter how much of a Billy Badass you are. You're not going to save America by yourself. And so if you understand that, why would you not try to find other Billy Badasses like you and combine your strength, combine your bravery, make it even more so, make it something that maybe can affect change in America and in the world. There's no reason to stubbornly remain alone in this. That's an incredibly foolish perspective. Novanow.org is another group that you can join through a network of integrated regional communities, associated groups, and associated projects. Nova seeks to build a nation within a nation in order to provide community, security, opportunity, and advocacy to those who recognize the absence of those nation-defining features in the current status quo. The United States has rapidly undergone a transformation of demographics, governance, and cultural values that has made the country weaker, its people more sick and isolated, and the foundational ties of family and traditional effectively vanish. The current economic system of endless growth has sacrificed critical components of the human experience in order to serve a ruthless elite minority. The top-down anti-white agenda is leading to the racial replacement of this country's founding stock, and soon white Americans will be regarded as a hated minority within the nation that our ancestors built. The conditions are intolerable, and nobody is coming to save us. As the infrastructure of the United States continues to decline, the first world qualities we have known in this country for generations will continue to become less certain. Shared culture and heritage, food security, law enforcement, transportation and power infrastructure, economic opportunity, national security. The only answer is to organize now and consolidate resources and power in building institutions to support and advocate for our people in the years ahead. That's another thing, like, even if you truly are that badass, Drew, even if you truly don't need anyone else, you do understand that other people do, right? Like, your own countrymen, your own white brothers, they aren't this mythical level of strong and brave that you are. Why would you not want to help them? Why would you not want to share some of your bravery with them? I'm not trying to be an asshole, but that is such a dumbass position to take. That is such a fucking retarded position to take. Organizing and building networks is the most important thing you can do, not only for yourself, but for your brothers, for the country, for all of this. French, Roman, I'm sorry. I will not be talking about European groups. This is only American. Now, some of these groups are also European, right? Like some of these, hey, HT, good to see you, man. Thanks for joining in. Some of these groups are international, right? But my focus is on America. So, you're welcome to participate and you're welcome to like share your experiences or your hangups. If you're in Europe, I'll talk to you. But I'm focused on groups in America. America is my focus. Runestone.org. This is the Asatru Folk Assembly. These are the big four, I think. Patriot Front, natall, National Alliance. We got another call, activeclub, and novanow, but there are other groups as well. What's up, man? Who's on the line?
What's up, brother? This is Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, good to hear from you, man. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, man. How about yourself?
Living the dream. I went to a festival yesterday, a local festival, and it was like the whitest place I've been in a really long time. And honestly, it was it was just nice. It was nice.
I'm glad to hear that. Some areas are not like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So, what are you calling about, man? What's the topic?
I'm ready to organize, brother.
Yeah. Can I share the little bit that you said to me in chat?
Sure.
Yeah, so you have applied for Patriot Front, which I think is fantastic. You've not heard back yet?
Not yet.
How long ago did you apply? I'm just curious what their, wait time is at the moment.
About a week or two.
Okay, so not too long so far. I mean, it might be a while longer. We'll see. But yeah, no, I guess what are your goals with Patriot Front? Why did you join? What do you hope to get out of it?
Oh man, I don't even know where to start with that, dude. I'm just honestly sick of, the way the world is now, dude. It's just unrecognizable from what I remember, 5, 10, 15 years ago. The anti-whiteness has really gotten out of hand, in my opinion.
I knew one kid in grade school that was Indian, had a full mustache in first grade. Now they're just literally everywhere. Yeah, it truly is completely unrecognizable from 10, 15, 20 years ago. It's very sad.
Yes, for sure. I mean, we homeschool our children. It's that bad.
That's fantastic. That's another thing that I think as many people who can do that should do that. Do you have a network, or is it like strictly your family teaching your kids?
It's a blend of both, honestly. I mean, unfortunately, the state of PA makes you, sort of check in once a year with them, make sure you're following the curriculum. I don't agree with that, but, they leave us alone pretty much. So I can't complain with that.
So I don't know, how based your homeschooling network is, right? But I do encourage very strongly. I think it's good to join a larger national organization like this, but I think you should always be striving to solidify connections that you have locally, build allies locally, find as many people as you can that are of a similar mindset to you in your local community. When your community faces, I'm sure we've all seen what happened in Spain recently, and that's, we've got hundreds of thousands of Somalis in Minneapolis. Like, that could happen to your town. And despite Drew being brave, I don't think you want to be alone if that happens, and that comes to you. So, having a local support network is very important.
Absolutely, dude. I mean, I was actually for the longest in this Drew guy's shoes. I mean, I wanted to, fight this all on my own. Obviously I was worried about getting in trouble, especially with little kids and, a family to support. But, I think the time, for that is over. I think it can't be alone anymore. And, you could see endless content of white people on their own. Obviously the opposition is not on their own. So I don't know how you could possibly think at this stage you could do it on your own.
Yeah.
Like, we're obviously not a threat to the enemy.
Not isolated. Yeah.
Yeah. No. I agree 100%. I mean, I can't do that on my own. And as tough as I'd like to think I am, it can't happen.
Yeah.
Organizing is extremely important at this point.
And
my problem is I isolated myself for so long. I feel like I may have missed opportunities to, to find groups like I should have, and I do regret that. I don't have many regrets, but I wish that when I had opportunities in the past that I didn't choose that path.
Yeah, I've always moved quite a bit my entire life. I've never been in any place for more than like 2 years at a time. So I, just kind of naturally have been a loner for most of my life. And it's not too late to start. Obviously you're taking the right steps. You've applied to Patriot Front. That's you're doing the right things. Don't. I think it's okay to regret whatever. Regrets aren't super productive though. Don't let the regrets weigh you down. All you can do is do the right thing now, which it sounds like you are.
I agree, and thank you.
Yeah, and on the point of, I know you've overcome this fear, but for others that are listening, because they don't fear us alone, but they do fear us organizing. There have been so many propaganda campaigns in order to prevent organization, and the fear of organizing, I really do think, is massively overblown in the right wing. It's not a riskless activity, right? But I think the level of risk that people imagine it has is massively overblown. It's not illegal to organize. It's not illegal to build a network. It's not illegal to have a group of men, right?
Yes.
And again, like I was saying earlier, all of these fears from the right wing, all of the reasons I see to not organize are things that haven't even happened. Like, Patriot Front is a honeypot. It's just to get everyone arrested. Well, it's been around for 7 years and that hasn't happened, right? So it's all things along those lines. They're all fears that haven't actually occurred. Meanwhile, we have real existential threats. Those are real, right? And if those aren't addressed, the consequences will be enormous, right? The consequences will be the extinction of the white race, the destruction of Western nations. And so while I understand and I sympathize with the fears and the hesitation to take these actions, it's very simple math to understand that there's literally nothing that could be done to you for organizing that would outweigh the fear or the consequence, rather, if you don't organize. So even if things were truly as scary as right-wingers thought they were, I would still encourage organization. But I really think that fear is massively overblown.
I agree. I agree 100%. The fear, I really don't know where that stems from other than, just worrying about, obviously when my wife and I decided to have a family, we didn't envision this as our future. Again, times were, a lot different, even though they were actually heading that way. The signs weren't as visible as they are now. And if you do have children, I don't know. It's like the back's against the wall. I have a son. I have 2 daughters. Not trying to dox myself, but, what kind of father would I be if I, didn't stand up for them and their future? That's just constantly what's in the back of my head.
Yeah, you don't want to leave your family alone, right? Obviously you don't want to leave your family alone, and again, there are risks associated with this stuff. But again, it's simple math. Are you going to take the risk of leaving your family alone? I think a relatively small risk, or are you going to foist these problems upon your children and guarantee their suffering, and their persecution? So, yeah, no one wants to leave their family alone. No one wants. I get it. They're completely rational fears. That's a very rational thought process, but it's simple math, right? You can't foist these problems upon your children. That's just even more unacceptable.
Of course. And our ancestors, I have to remind myself, our ancestors faced the same dilemma, time and time again. And I don't know. I don't know about everyone else, but I don't want to be on the wrong side of the history books. I want to continue what they did for us. Our life has been so good. Here in these, if you want to call it modern era, we've forgotten like who we are and what we're supposed to stand for. And I feel like we're faced that dilemma once again now.
Yes, and I mean I think it's worse than ever because we have screens, man. I really think that it's so incredibly damaging. I've talked about how I think we're all numb. I've got an example to show a little bit later of a guy who is fighting this fight alone, and he's clearly kind of losing his mind and going crazy, which is the natural outcome, right? Like, it's not even that he's a crazy person, but the world is so crazy, and if you're trying to face it alone, it of course will drive you a bit crazy.
Yes.
Yeah, and I honestly, I forget where I was going with that point, but
all good.
But
I'm glad to speak to you, and forgive me, man. I don't usually do anything like this. I'm not a very big social media savvy person, so this is absolutely new to me. This is a big step for myself. So I just appreciate you, taking the time to have a chat with me.
And I appreciate that you are, sharing that you're taking these steps. I think that the more people, obviously, like the Patriot Front's biggest march in DC got a lot of attention, and that was 400 people. Imagine a march with 10,000. Imagine the attention and the encouragement that that'll give to more people. So I think the more people see people taking these actions, the more it'll encourage others to join in. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no problem, man. I want to be a part of the 10,000, the 20,000, the 30,000. I mean, that was an amazing march, an amazing speech, and it got the goosebumps going. Personally, I was glad to see that, and I'm a physically capable male. I feel like it's wasted potential if I don't use the skill set that I have, whatever that may be, to help this cause. I just feel like I don't want to be that person, to sit idly by anymore. Like I told you, in the chat, I can't do it anymore. I mean, it was amazing. And honestly, in my line of work, I have apprentices that are underneath me that are, a little bit younger than me. I see the sentiment growing a little bit. I see a positive shift in a way amongst other people like us, fellow whites. They are almost equally tired of what they see, and I wish it was easier to get into Patriot Front. I appreciate the vetting because it has to be that way, right?
Yeah.
Like, it has to be vetted, with a lot of scrutiny, a lot of, you got to cross all the T's and dot all the I's. But there's definitely a lot more people than I've ever seen in the past that are, wanting to join this or be a part of this, or at least just tired of the way things are going, which I'm glad for.
Yeah, no, there is definitely an awakening happening to a degree, right? Everyone's at their own point, right? Everyone's at a different point, but it is very encouraging to see that more people are waking up. And again, I think if that momentum of Patriot Front being visible, of people joining, of seeing it grow, of seeing even more activity from them, I think that'll really help take people who are, just kind of starting to wake up and taking them over the line and going, okay, yeah, I need to organize too. So we haven't really hit that critical mass yet, but yeah, there's positive signs.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
All right. Well, did you have anything else to share, or?
No. I mean, I just want to again thank you, buddy, and to anyone listening or watching. White power. Let's keep it going. I mean, I don't want the enemy to win any longer. I mean, the goofy callers that you had, it's just weakness. I mean, they scare nobody.
Yeah, no, I
you know?
don't care at all. Like, I truly don't care. I'm here to talk. I'm here to talk to the people who get it. I'm just not concerned with the people who don't.
Exactly, and that's why they do it. They're terrified. They're terrified. I just and I want to see more of that, to where they keep their lips shut. Because right now we've given them a little too much leeway. We've given them too much freedom, in my opinion. Not to get too radical, but it's time for that to stop, in my opinion. So, and I know I don't. I'm not the only one that feels that way. So, white power, brother.
Yeah, and the only thing I would encourage is continue trying to build that local network. You've got your homeschooling group. I wouldn't be surprised if you might have a couple people in there that you might be able to that you have a lot in common with. You mentioned your apprentices. Be smart about it. Be tactical about it. I shared the post last week of the guy, talking to his neighbor who mentions changing consumer habits, and then they end up going shooting the next week. So drop a couple code words, see how people respond, and then pull them in if you get a positive response, and build that local network.
Great advice, brother. Keep it up.
All right. Well, thanks for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, man. Have a good one.
You too. Which I was doing that yesterday at the festival. I was trying to. I was having conversations. There were some people there who I thought maybe, they kind of looked the part, and I was talking to them, and I unfortunately didn't really go anywhere. But hey, I'm trying. I'm working on it, and that's all you can do. So, all right. If someone else wants to call in, the link will be ghostcall.space/app #S4F759. Ghostcall.space/app #S4F759. So the Asutru Folk Assembly, I'm not showing my screen. Here we go. The Asutru Folk Assembly, I don't know a whole lot about them. They're pagan. I'm not pagan. I don't really encourage paganism, but I don't have a problem with it. And if you are uncomfortable with Patriot Front because they have Christians in them or not explicitly pagan or something like that, fine. Join Asutru. It's a religious organization, so I genuinely don't know if these guys are doing a ton of like IRL activism, but still, being a part of this would be better than being a part of nothing. So check out the Asutru Folk Assembly at runestone.org if that piques your interest. This is their declaration. I'll read a couple of these real quick, just the headlines. Let's see, go up to the top. The practice, promotion, development, and dissemination of the religion of Asutru, the preservation of the ethnic European folk and their continued evolution, issuing a call to all our brothers and sisters of the ethnic European folk to return to this, their native religion and way of life, the restoration of community, the banishment of alienation, and the establishment of natural and just relations among our folk, the promotion of true diversity among the peoples and cultures of the earth. The world is not one uniform, unvarying mass. All peoples are, and by right, ought to be distinct and unique. Each and every culture should relish those differences and be free to work out their own destinies. Only in our uniqueness can our respective gods fully manifest. The AFA supports the efforts of all cultural and biological groups to maintain their identity and opposes the cultural Marxists who would reduce all of humanity to an indistinguishable gray mass. I read that full paragraph because like I said, I don't know much about this group, and I kind of assumed when reading that they would, because that's the first time I read that it would say something about preserving that uniqueness and diversity within their own areas, right? You know, Africa can be African, America can be American, but they didn't explicitly say that. So I was gonna say these things sound good. That one gives me a little bit of pause. I can only assume that they mean it in that way. That, you know, again, Australia being Australia, and China being China, but they don't explicitly say that. So I don't know. You know, maybe look into this if you're curious about it. Make sure it actually aligns with your goals. There's also white-power.org, which is the Aryan Freedom Network. I also am not a fan of the Hitler and Nazi LARPing. It's not that I'm not a fan of Hitler. I have no problem with Hitler. But I think that there's a fundamental mistake being made by people who want to bring Nazism to America. This is America. This is not Germany. Nazis were a distinctly German group. Hitler was a German leader. And there's also just this idea of like following a dead man. And it's, people follow Jesus, right? And it's a religion. Jesus died on the cross, and so people worship him and follow him as a religion. And it feels a lot like the, you know, Nazis, the neo-Nazis, they kind of worship Hitler as if it's a religion. And that's strange to me. That's not really something that I personally am interested in. You know, it's not like Hitler is a martyr. Charlie Kirk could have been a martyr. You know, someone dies and a movement happens like immediately because of the death. Unfortunately, that movement never occurred with Charlie Kirk, but he's not even a martyr. He's been dead for, you know, almost 100 years. I don't think that that's what America needs. However, right? Like, I wouldn't want this to become America. I much more align with Patriot Front's vision and would be much more comfortable with the America that they are trying to build. It looks like Ghost Call goofed out, so I'll give you a new link in a second. If anyone, let me know in the chat if you want to call, and I'll share the link. You know, the America that the neo-Nazis want to build isn't necessarily one that I want to be in. However, if you're not willing to join Patriot Front, if you don't like those groups and you do like the Nazi stuff, joining this is better than doing nothing. It's better than staying alone. I still encourage anyone to join a group like this if this is what it takes for you to join a group. If this is the type of group you need to join, then please join. I would rather have you join this than being alone and doing nothing, even though I don't personally support it. I still support the action. I still support organizing, and I still recognize that, you know, their enemies are my enemies, and we could use some help in fighting our enemies. Similarly, the National Socialist Movement, nsm88.org, not a group that I would ever join myself, and I would much rather see people joining groups like Patriot Front or the National Alliance or an active club, which I think they have quite a few Nazis in them as well. They're just not like explicitly branding themselves as that. But yeah, if you want to be a Nazi, here's an American Nazi party that you can join. Similarly, Blood Tribe, blutstam.com, BLUTSTAMM.com. These guys openly declare their hatred for America. They openly talk about their desire to destroy America. They are accelerationists. I don't know if I would even encourage anyone to join this group because they are very much, I basically view them as the same as Antifa, right? They want to destroy America. They their goals and Antifa's goals are the same. I honestly can't encourage joining of this group, but again, if that's what you need to join an organization, maybe it's better than remaining alone, at least for an individual, for you. I don't know if that's necessarily better for the country. I don't want to support people who want to destroy my country. I think that's rather stupid, but there it is. Checking chat a little bit if anyone wants to. Yeah, Charlie Kirk isn't a symbol like Hitler. I think he could have been, but he's not, unfortunately. I do agree with that statement. And that's part of the reason why, even though I don't agree ideologically, I'm not entirely opposed to people joining Nazi groups or flying swastikas. It does send a very clear message. It sends a message of white unity and white identity, the preservation of our people. And those are good messages, right? There's I don't know the right word to use, right? But there is an element of unseriousness, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what the word to use is, but I don't look at neo-Nazis and actually see a future for America within that. I just don't. And so I think that is a mistake if you are trying to join one of those groups because you truly believe that America should be and can be a Nazi country. I think that's a mistake. But again, they are clear symbols. They are very clear symbols. They deliver a very clear message. And I would rather see more. If my options were, no one does anything or everyone starts flying Nazi flags, I'd rather people fly the Nazi flag. Hitler and the NSDAP gave Germany National Socialism, a nation striving for the nation where America's constitutional republic model focuses on individuality and individual rights, kind of why you'll see ideological infiltration with that modeling. I agree with the LARPing, though. I don't even know if I have anything to add to that. Yeah. You got suspended for drawing a swastika? I got a talking to from my math teacher because I accidentally drew a wonky 4 one time. It wasn't even a swastika. It was just a wonky, the number 4 it was a little wonky. And she held me after class. I was so confused, and then I finally realized because she pulled up the paper and showed me, and I was like, "You dumb bitch." But anyways, so those are the groups I have to present. There are other groups out there, and again, if you just can't overcome that fear of joining a big group, then work locally. Build a network locally. Do you have 25 guys locally that you can call up and get to show up for a cause? And some of you definitely do. If you're part of a sports team or some kind of club, you literally have 25 guys you can call up and get to show up for a cause. It's just a game of baseball or something. But those networks are a good starting point for building these other networks. So, leverage those networks, build your own local network, find your allies locally. And even if you do join a national group, still do that. Still work on those local networks. I was going to cover a couple other things. Let me go ahead and share the new link if anyone wants to call in. Has questions, hesitations, just want to share a story, share your own journey, anything like that, ghostcall.space/app #5WFRLJ. And I can go ahead and put, because the beginning is always the same. The beginning is always ghostcall.space/app hashtag, and then this link is 5WFRLJ. Put that at the end. There you go. I'll put it in both chats here. 5WFRLJ. There you go. I'm not going to try and convince you guys not to hate Jake Lang. I get it. He's a Jew, and that is an actual valid reason to be hesitant of him. But I still support all the actions he takes. I still think he's a funny guy. And he's still out there doing good things. This is another example of a group that I really can encourage anyone to join, but it's out there. I'm showing it to you. If you feel the need to join, there it is. The Ohio Nationalist Network. If you see this flag in someone's profile, be prepared for the most brain dead of nationalist takes. We feel the need to separate ourselves from the pro-American nationalists. Many of these types of people are simple reactionaries. Let me finish reading this just a second. Hold on, man. Okay, that's just a troll. The ideas they hold in their head are half-baked or malicious in nature. We feel a great disdain for this nation, if you can even call it that. I think that part of this could be poor communication, right? Like, because I certainly don't support what America is now, but I do support what America was meant to be, what the Founding Fathers wanted for it. And so I have no interest in preserving the America we have today. I also want something totally new, something totally separate from what we have today. But I think that returning to what we used to have, what the founders actually built, and potentially with some updates, right? Some added safeguards, is that saying the same thing in different wording? From what I've seen from these people, no, they have a genuine hatred for America. They want to burn it all down. They want to see America crumble and be destroyed and burnt to ashes. And that's not something that I can support. I think that I highlight these groups to make the point that, not all of these groups are equal. Not all of these groups are necessarily even good. There are a lot of groups out there. You could even start your own group. Find the one that works for you. Find the one that is closest to your ideas and your goals and your desires. Zach X is the guy that I was describing earlier. Let's see if I have his video pulled up. There's a great video from Zach. I don't think it doesn't look like I have it pulled up, unfortunately. You guys have probably seen it where he knocks out like 3 different Antifa dudes. It's pretty fantastic. This guy, though, he lives in Minnesota. He's in the heart of like all of this fucked up shit. He's always alone. And he is fighting this stuff, and here's the video. This is a great video. I'll let this play in the background.
I was 36.
And he's cracking. Like, he is cracking. He is kind of losing his mind. He is kind of going crazy. And that's a natural outcome of facing this insanity, right? And while it's great to see that he is brave and strong, and he is brave and strong enough to do this on his own, right? I really think he would benefit greatly from having a group behind him. He would be a hell of a lot more effective with a group behind him. He'd be a hell of a lot safer with a group behind him. And there is, certainly where he's at, the forces he's up against are not something that can be overcome by an individual. It's still good that he's doing this. It's great that there is resistance, even if it is just from an individual. But he's not going to be able to save the state by himself. He needs help. He needs a group. He needs an organization. He needs a network. Yeah, no, this is a bit of fun, Eric. This video is very fun, but he's got a lot of content. He's got a lot of videos. Zach X on Twitter. He's got a YouTube as well, and he's got some fun videos like this. In it, but you can see like he's cracking from my evaluation, which is unfortunate. I don't want to see him completely broken, right? And similarly to Chud, like if he remains on this path, something bad is going to happen to him. He's already in legal trouble. He's already fighting court battles, but he's either going to get seriously injured or get seriously locked up. I don't want to see this happen to more people. Find an organization. United Youth, 14 words, right? I think it's 14. No, it's 88 words. It's 14 something. I should know that, but I don't. Unfortunately, our national Telegram channel was recently said the message is unimportant. This is for youth, right? This is for actual youth. So if you have kids like Pittsburgh does, I don't know the age of his children. They sound young. They're in school still. You probably don't want to sign your 5-year-old up, but if you've got like teenage kids, or if you are a teenager yourself, there's these youth groups. And if you are an adult, and if you hopped in their Telegram and you were like, hey, I want to join something, I know this is for kids, but maybe you can recommend a group for adults, I'm sure they could help you find something as well. This one is White Vanguard. I think this is British, right? This is in the UK, I believe. So I am throwing out a little bit for other countries, but join White Vanguard if you're in Britain. Another group. Subject change onto the flock cameras, because I've explained before that, just going to a meeting, just going to your town council is not going to change things. Just cutting down a flock camera is not going to change things. But here's a good example of, kind of how these things can play out when they're done right. The city council voted to end their flock camera contract, probably because of all the people showing up to the meeting, right? And by declaring a public emergency, and the female mayor, after the city council voted to end the flock contract, refused to end the contract. So she just ignored the will of her people, the will of her own city council. And so then after that, people started cutting down the cameras, which is exactly what they should do at that point. If we've gone through the civic process and we won, right? We got the city council to get rid of them, and then the mayor just overrides that and goes, no, we're keeping them. Now that's when, you start applying pressure to the mayor. If this was a leftist thing and the mayor just ignored the demands of the leftists, she would be flooded with death threats. She would be flooded with, all kinds of communication that would exert pressure upon her. They would go out and they would cut down the cameras. So the point being made here, though, is that a singular vector of attack, unfortunately, is not going to be enough. You need to be able to attack from every angle. You need to be able to apply pressure to the individuals. You need to be able to show up for the meetings, and you need to be able to, cut down the cameras when they inevitably ignore you. And I'm not saying that you, as an individual, have to do all of those things. This is another reason why it is so important to organize and to network and to have cooperation amongst people, right? Because one individual, that's a full-time job if you're trying to do all that just by yourself. That's a monumental task to take on, and that's just flock cameras. And we are facing so many issues. Flock cameras are just one of the many issues we're facing, right? You can't tackle all of them all the time, all by yourself. So you got to network. You got to organize. And then another topic change. Do I have someone on the line? I do not. This is what we've allowed to destroy our country. This is how passive we have been, is that this has been highly effective for the last 15, 20 years. A gasp and an, I'm sorry, I just never took you as the type of person to use that sort of word, and that coworker has not used the R word in front of me again. Right? That is the level of like pressure historically, that, and obviously now it's escalated to the point of cancel culture, and we've all seen that and stuff, but like this is how it started, and this is how it's still largely operating. Is they just look at you disapprove. Oh, you said the R word? You said retard? Oh, you know, and that is enough for most people to cave. And that is enough for most people to change their behavior. And that is why we have slid so far down this path, and why we're at the point where we are today, is because people are so weak when it comes to this type of social pressure. And you have to be able to just fully reject this. You cannot allow this to sway you. When you see this type of behavior, you need to be able to go out and confront it immediately and effectively. You don't argue with them. You don't debate with them. You don't justify yourself with them. You ridicule them and you mock them even harder. You shame them even harder. It's absolutely pathetic that we have allowed women and literal faggots and trannies to dictate our behavior through these types of actions. This, you know, going back to my earliest points, right? Woke must be destroyed before these other issues can actually have progress made on them. If woke is institutionalized, it has taken hold in all of our institutions. It has taken hold of a significant portion of our population, and it has radicalized people to the point where, you know, if you do say retard or, you know, you say faggot, there's the video of the hot chick with the big titties, you know, confronting those guys, wanting them to be fired because she overheard them saying faggot in a McDonald's. They are fully comfortable trying to kill you and your family because you said a word they don't like. They think that you're morally atrocious to the point that you and your family deserve death, because firing someone and making them unemployable, banishing them from society, that is what they are attempting to do. If you cannot provide for yourself, if you cannot provide for your family, they are trying to starve you to death. They are trying to kill you. Trying to kill someone over a word that you do not like. That is truly evil. That is truly morally abhorrent. But we live in a society that treats the word faggot or retard as something that deserves death. And that dealing that death is the morally correct thing to do. That has to be confronted. That has to be destroyed. That there has to be serious, significant pushback against the woke. And because it is so institutionalized, right? Like, any action you take without addressing the wokeness will just be undone by the woke people. They will just become more radicalized in their reactions. The wokeness has to be dealt with. The judges, you know, there is no political solution right now. Republicans will not save us, right? If there was a hypothetical world in which tomorrow every single Senate seat, every single Congress seat was filled by a Republican tomorrow. We have 100% Republican control tomorrow of the government. Do you think, if that was the case, that this country would be saved? Do you think that these existential threats we're facing would appropriately be dealt with if we had 100% Republican control tomorrow. I don't. I think there's a 0% chance of that. Right? Republicans are obviously the lesser of the two evils when comparing them to the Democrats and the Democrat Socialists of America, right? But they are not our saviors. They are never going to be our saviors. There is no political solution until we sufficiently organize and present a sufficient in real life presence that can allow for politicians who actually are going to address these issues in a serious way to arise. Because right now they don't even exist. They just don't exist. And similarly, there is no political solution or civil solution to the problems we face with judges. The judges have completely perverted our justice system. This story is a Christian couple had their teen daughter taken away from them by CPS after Oregon's Department of Human Services determined that they caused mental injury by refusing to affirm her transgender identity. They also permanently listed on the child abuse registry. They're taking away people's children. They are releasing murderers onto the streets. They are giving, Chud. They're torturing Chud. They're literally torturing Chud and drawing out this process as long as they can so that even if he is found innocent, he'll have spent years in jail being tortured. The punishment is the process, right? These activist judges are never going to be held to account by other judges, even the non-woke judges. The thin blue line is a thing, and the thin gavel line is even more a thing. Judges operate in a system where they are untouchable by design, and so they will not be touched. There is no way to get rid of these judges civilly. Going back real quick to the overblown fears, and this is something I actually need to refresh myself on, but it's actually fully legal and constitutional to call for violence, but there's caveats to it, right? I'm not going to do that right now at this moment because, again, I do need to refresh myself on when it's legal and when it's not. But simply calling for violence is not actually illegal. And the left certainly does it quite a bit. And it would be helpful for the right to start being less passive in their rhetoric and a little more extreme in their rhetoric. I'm sure you've all seen the "we don't have to live this way" line being repeated over and over and over again. That is such a passive, pathetic line. We don't have to live. No, we won't live like this. Stop. It already inherently is calling upon some mystical force to come save you. No mystical force is going to come save you. You have to save yourself. You have to save your country. Stop, wishing for this mystical force that we don't have to live this way. Please, someone come save us from living this way. No, we won't live this way. We're not going to live this way. We're not going to tolerate it. We are going to do something about it. So change, avoid all of the newspeak as much as you can. Change the way you talk. Change the way you think. Be a little bit more radical. I do not give a fuck what our white brothers and sisters' beliefs are. I don't care what or who you worship. I don't care what you have done in the past. I don't care how late you woke up. I do not give a fuck about any of that shit. If you are white in this fight against the Jews and you want our people to have nations of our own, then you are my brother. Everything else is just irrelevant noise that hinders white unity. This has been my message for a while. I just like to have examples of other people saying it, I feel like maybe it helps it resonate a little bit more. I don't know. But yeah, and similarly, when you have these like purity spirals that happen, like with Chud, for example, all the people coming out and trying to slander him as being gay, etc. I don't even care if he was. I don't even care if he was. It's fucking like, he is a warrior that fought for me. That's what I care about. That's what I'm going to defend. And these efforts, do I have that post pulled up? I don't. But like, those are distractions. Those are psyops. Those are people trying to prevent you from uniting with your brothers, from supporting your warriors, from doing what actually needs to be done, distracting you with a bunch of bullshit, right? These right-wing purity spirals are fucking retarded. And there does need to be controls. There does need to be gatekeeping, right? Patriot Front vets its members very thoroughly. That's a good thing. There is a level of this that does need to occur, but this like constant shitting on every single group or individual who actually takes action, the constant expressing of fears of things that haven't happened yet, that might not ever happen, right? When we have real things to be afraid of right now, those are distractions. Those are noise. You need to learn to just tune that shit out. If you get off the internet, you don't even see it, right? If you're living in the real world and you're building local networks, you won't even be aware of that shit because it doesn't really exist in the real life. These people are a very small minority in the real world, but they're a very loud minority on the internet. Tune that shit out. Ignore the noise. Organize. Austin Franco, the guy who became a national news story because he said he didn't want to work for a Jew. His parents kicked him out of his house. His parents have disowned him. And then the Jews doxed his parents. After his parents disowned him, the Jews doxed his parents. They posted his home and their photographs online, and they shamed him. And they're like, you disowned your son, but that's not enough for us. You're still disgusting goyim, and you need to be crushed. But the point here is that Austin Franco would certainly benefit from a network. He would certainly benefit from being a part of something, and anyone else would as well. Like, he now has to find a new place to live because his own family has turned against him simply for not wanting to work for a Jew. He is now alone, and maybe he is a part of a group. I don't know. Maybe he does have a network, right? But if he didn't, he would now be alone, potentially on the streets, alone. You need a network. You need a network. And novanow, which I think I highlighted earlier, but another group. So I'm going to give one last chance for someone to call in. I'm going to read through chat a bit. The link this time, ghostcall.space/app #8EX5A6 8EX5A6. But yeah, if no one else does want to call in, that is what I've got this week. I'll be doing the same thing again next week, hopefully with a better call-in system, and hopefully I'm able to take some more calls with some less trolls. Yes, I see your message about wanting to call in. I just shared it, so please feel free to call in. Would like to hear from you. Just scrolling through the chat while I wait for the call. Hey, what's up?
What's your opinion? No. I'm not trolling. What is your opinion on Dulo Clan?
I don't know them. Yell slightly less.
We have done more activism than GTV, okay?
I'll shout you out. Here, hold on.
Aryan Warriors, you gotta join Dulo Clan, okay?
Okay, hold on a second. Can you lower your voice just a little bit, because it's not coming through the audio real well. You know what I'm saying? But Dulo Clan, I'll shout them out. Let me look them up. Do you have anything? Do you have anything I can like show on screen?
No, we are niche. You're a fucking Fed, bro. You're fucking FBI. We're niche niggas. We're coming for the FBI, bro. You know who we are, bro? We're Dulo Clan, bro.
Okay. Yeah. Obviously a troll. If you do have another group, I will shout them out though. Someone was that what is Chud is woke? What if Chud is woke? Well, that's kind of a crazy question. What if Chud was woke? He's not. Right? Like, you can look at his actions. I'm honestly confused by that question. I don't know what you're trying to get at. Arian Inzer 8088, was that you? No, that wasn't you, because you're a woman. So let me hopefully give you another link that won't be grabbed by a troll. I'm going to put the full thing in chat so that you can call in. So get ready to call. Try and snag it before a troll snags it. But I would like to hear from you. There's the link. And yeah, I'm a man, so I'm talking about men. It would be good to have a female's perspective. I think this is the same troll again.
I apologize. If you can shout out Dulo Clan, that'd be great, because we're real white Aryan warriors.
So I will try one last time to let her call in. I am going to have a different system next week. It'll be better. This is what I've got for today. I apologize. I expected some trolls, but that's the new end to the link there. And if a troll gets in again, sorry, I'll have to try and take your call next week when I have a better system set up. But I hope you can get through. I hope you. I do hope to hear from you. Okay, so that's the show, fellas. I'll catch you next week. Yeah. All right. That's the show. Peace out, fellas. Thank you, Pittsburgh, for calling in. Unite, organize. It's that's if you haven't done that, that should be exclusively your focus. If you do not have a network built locally, all of your efforts should be going towards that. If you have not joined a larger organization, go join a larger organization. If we wish to actually save our people, save our country, that is the most critical thing you can be doing right now at this moment. If you've already done it, good job. Good job. Thank you. You're good job. I'm not trying to sound facetious. I genuinely mean good shit. But if not, that is your job right now. That is your mission. That is your goal. That is where your effort needs to be. I'll catch you guys next week. Peace out.